This is my custom-built $400 video editing, or I guess if you want to use it for that, gaming PC. Yes, it has problems. Yes, it's hideously ugly. Yes, it's bottlenecked by the CPU. But it was $400 and is easily upgradable. Hello, I'm Noah from Anything Cameras, the channel that focuses on helping you improve your filming and photography. And today we are looking at my $400 custom-built video/photo editing PC. Now this thing, like I said, I built it for $400. It was my first PC build, and I'm aware that the system is slightly unbalanced, so don't go giving me hate and comments for that. I plan to upgrade the CPU sometime in the near future. But let's open up this thing and talk about what I have. Okay, in this computer I have an AMD Ryzen 2200G. If you're familiar with the CPU, you will know what I mean when I say that the system is slightly or very bottlenecked by the CPU. However, I plan to upgrade it in the near future, so for me it's not a big deal, and if you have a flexible budget, then you can easily get something like a Ryzen 2400G for a little bit more. This CPU is 3.5 GHz boosted to 3.7. It has 4 cores and 4 threads, and for only $90 on Amazon when I bought it, that's not too bad a price. The motherboard I have in here was an ASRock B450 Pro 4, which was about $80 when I bought it off Amazon. Obviously, it's a Ryzen AM4 socket. It is 3 PCIe by 16 slots, 1 PCIe by 1 slot. The I/O is very versatile. It has several USB 3.0 slots, a USB-C, an Ethernet, a VGA, a DVI, an HDMI, 2 USB 2, as well as the usual 3 audio port. The card I currently have inhabiting the PCIe by 1 slot is this Asus. The card I currently have inhabiting the PCIe by 1 slot is this Asus Wi-Fi adapter for PCIe. Now there is only one PCIe slot, like I said, and so this means that when I want to put a capture card in, I will have to switch between the two and use Ethernet when I'm using the capture card, which is one thing I oversaw. So if you intend to put in a capture card and a PCIe by 1 Wi-Fi adapter, you will want a different motherboard. The graphics card I have is a PNY 1060 GTX 6GB card. New off of Amazon, it's $320, but I got a great to use deal on eBay for only $120. The power supply I have is a semi-modular Corsair CX650M. It's a 650 watt power supply, so plenty for what I will be using it for anytime, and until it dies I will not need to replace it. I have a 500GB hard drive as well as a 250GB SSD. Oh, and also it has 8GB of RAM, which I intend to upgrade to 16GB as soon as I can. That's about all the specs, besides the case, which was used for $17 on Facebook, and so I decided to just pick it up. Even though it's horrendously ugly, it works. It only came with one case fan, but I'm not really pushing the thermals too much anyway. If you want to buy a new budget case, I would recommend the Fractal Design Focus. It is a relatively good looking case with decent cable management capabilities. It has an actual thermal glass side panel, unlike this stupid plastic one with fan mounts, and it's only $50, so I would say about the best case for the price point. This project started when my grandmother found her old desktop PC in her garage, and I was going to update it. Turned out it was too outdated to update. This was the motherboard and CPU and RAM that were in it. It's an M2N68LA motherboard, completely covered in dust. It has only 3 gigabytes of DDR2 RAM. It only accepts up to 4 gigabytes. And the CPU is an AMD Athlon 170U. It has a turbo speed of up to 2 gigahertz. It has 1 core, and it's a socket AM3. So, also another big bottleneck. I'm not going to get an AM3 CPU that can run DaVinci Resolve. So, I ended up just gutting it. And originally, I was going to make about a $250 PC using the same case, the same power supply, but I think that was all the parts I could have used, and it turns out the power supply wasn't compatible. It didn't have the right connectors for some reason. This motherboard uses a 4-pin CPU connector instead of the usual 8-pin, which I find very strange, and overall just too outdated. So I was going to keep it in the same case until I could buy a decent one like the Fractal Design Focus. However, as it turned out, when we built the system in that case, which there is some footage from, it turns out that the PCIe slots on either the motherboard or the case, or both, are not the regular height in the case, so they didn't actually line up for me to put in the Wi-Fi adapter or graphics card. Meaning that I had to go on Facebook, find this $17 hunk of junk, and build it in that. And it works. It's fine. But once I do have the budget for the Fractal Design Focus, it will look a lot better. That's for sure. Before I get into my plans for the future of this PC though, let me just say, if you would like more videos about this PC or building PCs for beginners, then definitely subscribe and hit that like button. Now let me talk about my plans for this PC's future. Now, what are my plans to upgrade this PC to? Well, like I mentioned, I'm going to be getting a capture card relatively soon so that I can do live streams using my camera instead of just a webcam. The CPU upgrade will definitely be near the top of my list, as well as a new case fans, since this only has one stupid blue LED one, a better hard drive since mine is only 500 gigabytes, and it was actually pulled from that old PC, which by the way was a HP Compact Presario CQ5604F. Great naming back then. So it could fail at some point. So I will be getting hopefully a 2 terabyte drive, 7200 RPM to put in there eventually. But the SSD is fine, and so I will be leaving that. And like I mentioned, I want to upgrade the RAM to 16 gigabytes soon. So that's about all my plans for it currently. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.